Welcome to the war zone. Imagine, if you will, a time in the recent past when football wasn't popular. Advertisers certainly didn't want football supporters in their commercials. Women weren't under pressure to have a favourite team. There was no cheeky lads culture. Grounds didn't have community projects. And as for creches, well, that was just something the Queen Mother's car might have. Yes, this was a time when attendances were falling and everyone feared the football supporter, sometimes quite rightly. This was season 84-85.
Here we go, here we go.
And speaking of the ugly face of football, here's Everton singing on Wogan.
We don't know. We're the team, we're supreme, #1.
The boys were certainly in the mood to rock and roll, having broken their recent duck by winning the FA Cup back in May. Now they were out for the championship, their twin engines being Peter Reid, who in those days could run all the way to his nan's house, and Andy Gray, who was in no doubt what line of work he was getting into once the old leads had gone. But while Everton were in revival, Liverpool were European champions for the 4th time. However, inspirational skipper Graham Souness was leaving the club for Italy.
When you've got somebody like Souness and you lose him, then very difficult to replace him because you're never going to get anybody as good. As simple as that.
Souness takes out of beauty.
Souness was just head and shoulders above anybody. I mean, I think Hoddle had more talent than Souness. But he was never the player Souness was. I mean, Souness was like a giant.
Bobby Robson's summer plans were wrecked by a chronic injury crisis. Bobby could still play a bit himself. A bit, but happily he found enough players for a summer tour of South America and a staggering game against Brazil.
John Barnes now. Might go all the way for England. Barnes, he scored! He got his cross in well. And another one!
John Barnes would find the rest of his career measured against his wonder goal against Brazil, and it started immediately as Watford travelled to Old Trafford for the first game of the season.
Strachan. Oh, he's taken it through himself. The referee had played an advantage. And Strachan fouled by Sherwood, penalty. Now, that was a very interesting piece of refereeing. Will it be his first goal in the Cannon League? It is. And there's Riley, and there's Blissett, and it's Callaghan! Yes, they've done it! Nigel Callaghan proves that you should never give up, and Graham Taylor dances a jig on the touchline.
Meanwhile, Liverpool are struggling to come to terms with a squad now Souness-less. Among the new faces at Anfield is Jan Molby, a full-figured Great Dane, billed as Souness Mark II, and he's out to impress at Highbury.
Brian Talbot and Charlie Nicholas, either one of them might fancy their chances from this central position. And Talbot, yes! 2 in a week for Brian Talbot. Anderson's joined the attack outside of Kennedy, and he got there too, and Davis was in there, and Woodcock was in there! 2-0 to Arsenal, Woodcock the scorer. Talbot! Liverpool caught, standing and watching.
Only one win in 5 games was Liverpool's poorest start in years, and the reasons seemed obvious.
He was mentioned every other day. It was the new Graham Souness. As well as being a great passer to ball, Graham Souness was also a hard man or a tiger in midfield, which has never been part of my game. And I think the biggest problem was for people to realise that I wasn't the new Graham Souness, and it took a while.
Today, the Premier League is second home to millionaire Italians, but in the 1980s, the opposite was true. For many top Brits, the future was bright, secure and abroad.
When you get married, you have responsibilities. I've got children. Now it's all about making as good and as comfortable a life for them as possible.
In addition to Graham Souness at Sampdoria, there was Liam Brady playing for Juventus and the England duo of Ray Wilkins and Mark Haitley in Milan. Nice hair, Mrs Haitley.
The families are a lot happier, especially the way we're getting on with Ray's family and Liam's family. You know, it's just like a nice little, well, a nice big family.
As our top players disappeared to Europe, cheap foreign imports began to arrive here. Names such as Klassen, Petrovic and Antic started to appear on English team sheets. One of the latest arrivals was Aston Villa's Frenchman Didier Cisse, who naturally was still struggling with the language.
Is your English improving?
Oh, it's very difficult for me. After 3 months, it's better.
well, très bien, Didier.
Nice hair, Mr Parry. Meanwhile, Man United's Jesper Olsen had mastered the language and was getting to grips with Yorkshire pudding. The word pudding would come to haunt his fellow countryman Jan Molby.
It's difficult to understand the players when they are talking, but everyone tries to help me, so in a few months I can talk the language they are talking up there.
People just presumed that I came off the plane one day and the next day I spoke Scouse. It wasn't quite like that, but it didn't take me long. It took me no longer than 6 to 8 weeks to near enough perfect a Scouse accent.
So it's a foreign affair at Old Trafford where Jan Molby's Liverpool come face to face with Jesper Olsen's Manchester United.
Strachan scored it. Strachan made it. Nicol. He did well, Nicol. Walsh on the far post. And it's turned in, and it may have come off the defender.
The next stop for Manchester United would be at Aston Villa, where Didier Cisse is proving to be an inspiration.
Gibson waiting for Seeks to make his run inside Duxbury. Beautifully done. And Seeks. And Wick! A goal for Peter Wick from Didier Seeks. Brilliant run. Cowans. Wick's in there again. Alan Evans. Oh, he's there! Evans has scored 2-0. And Manchester United looking round at the goalkeeper. He must have been unsighted. Oh, Witt, right out! Number 3 for Villa, right out scores.
A big win for Villa, but also going well at Everton, preparing for a visit to Anfield where they haven't won for 14 years.
Everything must change.
Rush, he turned nicely there. And found Dalglish. Everton are playing for an offside, and Rush is through. Good save. And that's Dalglish. And Lawrenson. Liverpool found Southall in their way there. Stevens. Looking for Sharp, and he got behind Lawrenson there. Did Sharp? What a fantastic goal! An unbelievable finish from Graham Sharp. And the Evertonians have gone berserk. I haven't seen a goal quite like that in a Merseyside derby for years. Absolutely marvellous to see him get behind the defender and then take it first time on the volley, giving Grobbelaar no chance. And there it is. A moment of supreme celebration for Evertonians. It's their first win here since March 1970. The balance of power may be shifting on Merseyside, and Everton needed this result to prove it.
Well, you can't talk about power on Merseyside in the 80s without a quick look at Derek Degsy Hatton.
What we're seeing coming out of Goodison Park is a team that deserves the credit and the acknowledgement of this particular Policy and Finance Committee.
Now, I know a lot of you kids might be saying, who was Derek Hatton? Well, he was Kevin Keegan's dad. By the end of October, Hatton's team, Everton, couldn't have been better placed. Man United and Spurs are well in touch, but Liverpool, anyone?